Hi everyone, I am Katie, the Crafty Blog Stalker, and today I am going to show you how to make a personalized cutting board. Now these are really much simpler than you think. We're just going to cut the stencil out using our Cricut, and then I've got this really cool wood burning marker that I can't wait to show you. If you're new to my videos and love everything crafty, subscribe and make sure to ring that bell. The supplies that we're going to use is of course a cutting board, and I got this 2-pack off of Amazon for about $10. 220 grit sandpaper, a wood burning marker, paper towels, cutting board oil, a scrap piece of vinyl, and some transfer tape, a heat gun, and our Cricut cutting machine. We're going to start in Cricut Design Space. I purchased this split monogram file from Etsy, and then I typed in the last name, which is Waters, and then I highlighted the whole thing and welded it together so it is one complete file. For my specific cutting board, I want my design to be 5 inches at the longest point. So I'm going to click on Edit and width. I have the width at 5 inches. So perfect, it's ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on Make It. I'm gonna cut on a mat because I'm using scrap vinyl, and there's a little preview. I'm gonna click on Next. I'm gonna go to all of my materials and type in vinyl. We are just going to say it is vinyl. Then down here it tells me exactly what I need, which is just the fine point blade. So now I can go to my Cricut machine. I'm gonna load my mat, and it's gonna measure out my vinyl to make sure that I have enough for the project. And then when this light starts to blink, it means that the machine is ready to cut. Our design is cut. Let's go ahead and trim this. And then I can use this scrap for another project. We are going to be using this design as a stencil, which means we want to remove the positive part of the design, so we are only left with the negative. Now to help me see my lines better, I am going to bring in my Cricut Bright Pad. I'm going to turn that on. Now our stencil is almost all ready to go. I'm just going to trim the bottom part a little bit. The first thing we want to do is figure out which side we want that personalization on. I like to choose the best side, and to me that looks like the better side. We're going to take some sandpaper that's 220 grit, and we just want to go over that area that we're going to burn and make sure that it is nice and smooth. I'm also going to go around the edges because on these cutting boards, the edges are just a little bit rough. I'm going to grab some transfer tape. I want a piece of transfer tape that is about the same size as my stencil here. We're going to cut that right there. Pick up that transfer tape off of the backing sheet. Now you'll notice that this transfer tape has little guidelines on it. Usually I don't worry too much about the guidelines, but for this project I am going to use them. So what I'm going to try and do is line up a guideline right along underneath the name. So underneath Waters, that is going to help me put it on straight. I'm going to push hard with my scrapey tool along the front, and then I'm going to do the same along the back. Remove the vinyl backing paper. So our vinyl is only stuck to the transfer tape. And now we are going to apply this to our cutting board. I'm an eyeballer, but if you need to measure that out so you get it perfectly straight, that is totally fine. Push down again with my scraper tool. Remove the transfer tape. As you know, wood or vinyl doesn't always like to stick to wood. So we're going to help it by holding it down with the scraper tool. Go around and just push all of that vinyl down. It works better with your finger than it does with the scraper tool. We're going to bring in our wood burning pen. I found on Amazon there are a bunch of different brands. I've used a couple different brands, and I've never had one that didn't work. You don't want to use a lot of the ink from the wood burning marker because otherwise it will seep under the stencil. I'm going to keep a paper towel handy. and I'm going to bleed out the tip of my marker as well as use this to daub. We're just going to start coloring. You really almost can't even tell that we colored on that, but that is okay. Next comes the fun part of actually burning the wood. I've got this other cutting board that I'm going to bring in just so I don't hurt the surface of my table here. To burn it, we are going to use a heat gun. We're going to turn the temperature up to about 1,000, and then we're going to apply heat with the stencil still on. This will help it not bleed as much. It's going to get really loud, but you'll be able to see what I'm doing. I'm just going to apply the heat. You can see how it makes the vinyl bubble, and there is the color difference there. We're just going to do that all over. That looks really good. I'm going to grab my weeding tool. While it's still warm, I'm going to peel it back, and you can see the burn. Isn't that so cool? Now, I have tried burning it and taking the stencil off before burning it, and it just bleeds a lot more. So I think you get a much cleaner look if you leave the vinyl stencil on while you're burning it. Isn't that so cute? Okay, but we aren't done yet. To completely finish the board, use some cutting board oil, and we're gonna put that all over the board. Just add a generous amount, and then with a rag or a cotton round like I have, you're just gonna press that into the wood. Now you want to let this dry for at least an hour, and then you can turn it over and do the other side. You can see how that oil just really makes it pop. I'm going to set this one aside to dry, and with this one I'm going to show you how I package it to give as a gift. I've got these 9x12 cellophane bags. I'm going to put the cutting board inside, going to turn it over, and then I'm going to add some goodies. I've got some cheese, of course, a summer sausage. My other favorite is this knife that looks like a meat cleaver, but it's made for meats and cheeses. I got this on Amazon as well. Love this knife. I'm gonna put this shield, the knife shield, in there so they can have it, but I'm gonna put the knife in like this so you can still see it, and just be careful with it when I'm bringing it as the gift so it doesn't cut through the plastic. Turn it back over, and I'm just gonna fold that over onto itself. Take some clear tape that down. I have this super easy gift, a personalized cutting board with cheese and meat and this totally awesome knife. She is going to love it. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. While you're here, subscribe so you'll never miss any of my upcoming tutorials. And of course, you can always find me at my home base at thecraftyblogstalker.com. Thanks everyone. Bye and happy crafting.